Hi, I'm Greg Dell with Dell Disability Lawyers. I want to thank you for considering our law firm. The point of this video is to give you the opportunity to get to know some of our lawyers and also to learn more about the multiple different ways that we can help you. We're going to talk today in this video about 5 types of services that we offer, going through everything from applying for benefits to handling your claim once you get on claim, to dealing with an ERISA appeal, to lawsuits, and the last one being a lump sum buyout if you're somebody who's already on claim and you're looking to get a one-time payment for your policy. So we help clients all over the country. We always provide you initial free consultation, and most importantly, we never charge any fees or costs unless we recover benefits for you. So I want to get into, and we'll kind of go in the order here in the progression of how we handle cases from the inception of a claim until through being on claim till someone getting denied. And first I want to introduce everybody. This is Alex Palomara, Cesar Gavidia, and Stephen Jessup. And you also have the opportunity on our website to take a look and search specifically about each lawyer and see the vast experience that we have in terms of resolved cases and testimonials, and really get to know each of us, because we think that's really important when you're hiring a lawyer, that you should know who your lawyer is and the experience and what you're getting. So take a little time if you have to learn a little bit about each of us. But Cesar, I think I'm going to come to you first, and we'll get right into the first way that we help people, which is dealing with applying for benefits. And we have, as you know, but a lot of people don't know, we have probably now over 600 videos talking about everything from the companies to the medical conditions to the occupations, everything they can think of with disability. But this video is meant to be more about the services we offer and just providing some of the highlights as to why someone would want an attorney to help them at these different stages of the claim. So what comes to your mind? What should someone know right away about when they're applying for benefits, the benefit of having an attorney help them?
Well, one of the most important parts of that is the timing of filing your disability claim. Aside from the fact that all disability policies have certain notice and timing requirements when you need to make a claim, when you're initiating a disability claim, you don't always know if you actually have a claim that's eligible to submit, or whether the timing is right, whether you have all the critical pieces in place to be able to submit it and obtain a favorable outcome. So what's important in terms of what we do, we ensure all those things are in place. So we ensure that you have all the medical support there. We ensure that the timing is right. We ensure that you're going to hit and essentially qualify under each provision of that disability, total disability definition or partial disability definition, whatever the benefits are that you would qualify for, so that you have the easiest road possible to receiving those benefits.
And Alex, what would you tell someone about the process for getting started with us to even determine if they're even ready to file a claim and their chances of success?
Well, you're going to contact us and we're going to have a lot of questions about your claim. We're going to have a lot of questions about what your occupation is, what doctors you're seeing, what the status is, whether your doctors are supportive of your claim, what medical testing you've had done. Because we need to figure out whether your claim, like Cesar just said, whether your claim is viable, whether if we file this claim you're going to win. And before we file this claim, we have to make sure that your claim is in the best light possible. So we need to make sure that your medical evidence is in order, that the doctors are supportive, and that there's any testing that could possibly be done has been done, so that when we file your claim, we give it to the insurance company, basically with a ribbon on it saying, here's everything you need to do to approve this claim, it's ready to go.
And Stephen, why is it so critical to get it right out of the box, as opposed to the claimants who call us and go, hey, I called the company, and we haven't had a hand in what's going on?
Because you want to be able to control the narrative, the presentation of information. If someone contacts us after the claim's already been filed, or if that gets denied, we have to work on information. We have to try to make it or correct it or do whatever we can on it. So if we're able to control the narrative and the timing and look out and see where the issues may lie in the claim and address those earlier on prior to the filing, it's just going to save a lot of headaches. Once the claim's submitted, that information's there. In these types of cases, you really live and die by the information.
And I always tell people that the application process is like writing a script for a TV show or a movie, and we have the opportunity to shape that script and control it right from the outset, and then dictate the way in which it's going to go and give a claimant the best opportunity to get their benefits approved. Obviously, there's no guarantee, but from our experience of handling thousands of claims, we know all of the pitfalls, all the tricks in the claim forms and the attending physician statements, in the initial interview with the carrier, all the things that can go on, and also the fact that every disability company handles things differently. So that's also super important considering there's more than 40 plus disability insurance companies. So let's go on and talk about now claim handling. And Alex, that's a unique service that our law firm offers, and that's for people who are already on claim. Obviously, we do that for if we help with the application or we win an appeal or a lawsuit. But talk about what we do and why that's such an important service for people who have long-term disability benefits being paid.
Well, one thing that people need to realize that just because your claim was initially approved doesn't guarantee your benefits are going to continue, for the next 24 months or for the next until your retirement age. The insurance companies are constantly doing updated reviews of your medical records to see if they can deny your claim. And people that are disabled, lo and behold, sometimes it's difficult for them to keep up with the insurance company. The demands of the insurance company could be monthly, could be every 6 months, could be once a year. That would be the ideal situation. But more often than not, they want updated medical records, they want updated reports filled out by your doctors, and somebody who's disabled might have a hard time getting that accomplished. So we not only provide that service to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed and whatnot to make sure that the claim is in the best light possible, but we make sure that the person stays on claim so they can either get back to being medically treated, maybe get better so they can get back to work, and they can focus on what they need to focus on, and we can focus on ensuring that their claim is always paid.
Yeah, I always tell claimants when they call and we offer them the monthly claim handling, or we tell them, hey, we're vested in the claim once we win your claim and get you on, that this is basically insurance on insurance, that we know we're able to tell you everything you can or can't do so you can live your life normally. All communications come to our office. If the carriers want to talk to anybody, they have to call us. They're never going to call you. They're never going to show up at your door. If they say they can't get a hold of a doctor's office or something like that, we tell them that you need to go through our office. We also make sure the benefit check's coming in timely. So there's still a lot of things that have to go on in this thing, and it is a lot of pressure on a claimant, especially one who's still trying to just take care of themselves, let alone trying to get into the doctor, getting the medical records, and all of those things. So we handle the claim for them, so it's our responsibility to make sure that check's coming in every month. And as you said, it is an evaluation every month. People think that just because they get approved that it's going to stay forever, and we know, unfortunately, you can be denied at the outset, you can be denied at a year. We have people who have been denied after 20 years. So never let your guard down and always continue to be prepared, and that's part of the service of what we do with the monthly claim handling. So, a lot of law firms don't offer those services of helping initially from the beginning and then managing the claim. And many law firms only get involved when it comes to a denial. But we like to set people up for success from the beginning and then maintain that, because it does become a lot more challenging process, obviously, once you get denied. And I want to roll into the denial services that we offer, which is probably where more than 65% of the people who hire us call us for. And that deals with, number one, an appeal, if it's an ERISA claim, and then obviously a lawsuit. But Steve, we'll let you lead off talking about the appeal level of service that we offer and talk a little bit about when an appeal is even, nutshell, why it's required, but the importance of having a lawyer and what we do to help them through the appeal process.
Yeah, so with the appeal process, and we have videos on between individual disability policies where it's more of a voluntary process, but the majority of people who contact us are on the employer-provided group policies governed by ERISA. So after a denial of benefits, you do have to file that administrative appeal before you're able to bring any type of lawsuit. And a lot of times people will, just fill out a one-page, form sometimes that the insurance company gives them, or they write a quick letter saying, I'm appealing your decision, I want you to take a look at it. But once there's a denial in a claim, that appeal is going to be the most important, document you have at that point. Under an employer-provided policy, save Lincoln National, you get one shot an administrative appeal. And in that, you have to, we get the claim file so we can understand what exactly the insurance company did when it came to medical reviews, vocational reviews, what type of surveillance may have been done. They have a duty to turn that over. So you have a really good insight and look into what they used to deny the claim. And then it's a matter of strategically attacking all those points. What type of additional information or testing can be done? Whether functional testing, cognitive testing, do you get a vocational report, or sometimes working with the doctors to bolster up their support. So in that appeal, you want to have as much possible information that you can to submit, because if you're only going to get that one chance, if it's denied, then you're staring at litigation, which we'll get into. you could really set yourself up for failure if you don't do it. And sure, the insurance company is going to give you 6 months, up to 6 months to appeal. That's a lot of time without money coming in. But if you're looking at that 6 month potentially representing you getting 5, 10, 15, 20 years of benefits, it's not a long time, in the scheme of things in the life of the claim.
So Alex, in talking with the appeals, one of the greatest assets I think that we provide is working closely with the claimant's doctors and obtaining additional medical evidence. Talk a little bit about the unique process that we have at this firm for building additional medical evidence and why it's so important to have that during the appeal as opposed to someone who doesn't know to do all of those things during an appeal.
Well, as Steve said, there could be additional testing we can have done. If you have a physical condition, sometimes we send our clients to functional capacity evaluation to prove they don't have the physical ability to do the requirements of their job. Or we may reach out to the doctors and ask, what are there additional testing we can have done? And the reason why it's so important to do it during the appeal, because the appeal is your last chance for ERISA claims, for the group policies. It's the last chance. Not only is your last chance to prove to the insurance company that you're disabled before potential lawsuit, but if the insurance company denies your appeal, at that point the claim file is closed. So no information that was not submitted before the denial of benefits can be submitted for your lawsuit. So however the claim file is on the date of final denial is the claim file that's going to be presented to the judge. So if whatever medical evidence you don't submit with your appeal, it's never going to be considered by the judge. So your appeal is the most important thing you can possibly do for your claim because it's your last chance to get on claim with an appeal or to strengthen your claim for that potential lawsuit. Now, beyond additional testing like a functional capacity evaluation, we work with your doctors. We reach out to your doctors. Now, the insurance companies, they have you fill out a form, an attending physician statement, and it's a one-size-fits-all form for every single, type of disabling condition. What we do is we draft our own attending physician statements for the type of doctor, that, the specialty of the doctor that might be filling out the form, or the different various disabling conditions that our client suffers from. So we have our own attending physician statements. We reach out to the doctors to either get those filled out and filled out correctly, and we also ask the doctors for letters of support. We tell the doctor what they need to understand about the policy and about this claim. So the doctor understands what it means to be disabled under the policy and the different parameters that the policy has for us. So that when they fill out these forms and write letters of support, they're as strong as possible so that our appeal is strong as possible as well.
And Cesar, another very important component of the appeal is the vocational aspect, which means dealing with the occupational duties. And talk a little bit about some of the strategies you use from vocational consultants to all the other things that are available to help really portray that person's job duties or what the requirements are that the disability carrier is saying they think the claimant can do.
Sure, and really the critical question here is how is this person prevented from performing the essential duties of their occupation or any gainful occupation? And if those are the questions you're looking at, then it's a very specific analysis of this person's occupational duties. Insurance companies don't usually just accept what the claimant's telling them their occupation is. They'll tell them, well, we're not looking at your job, we're looking at the occupation. And the occupation can be how it's done in a local economy, it can be how it's done on a national market, depending on what the policy says, and then also depending on that jurisdiction's case law. So it's really important we reach out to experts who are known as vocational consultants or vocational experts. We even reach out to the employer. We obtain descriptions of the occupation from the employers. When we reach out to our vocational consultants, they basically put together these market surveys and reports that they gather a survey of these jobs and occupations as they're done in a particular market, and they will describe what's the physical demands of each of these jobs or each of these occupations, so that you could really get a more, a better sense of what the person's occupational duties will need to be qualified for disability under the policy.
Right, because a lot of people call us and they go, I've been denied, but they totally don't understand my job. They basically just said, if I can sit for 4 hours a day, then I can do my job. Like as if a monkey can do it. There's no thought process required whatsoever, and it's just if I can be a human body in the building, then I can do it. And they don't consider anything else. But people say, yeah, and also my job description may say, required to sit for 7 hours a day, but they're not talking about the 5 meetings I need to do during the day, the 15 people that I supervise, the travel that I may have to do. the 15 different tasks that I have during the day, and then I have to type for 6 hours a day, and they're not even contemplating what happens when I start to get pain, whether it's neck, back, headache, whatever it is. I can't focus. They're like considering as if there's no requirement other than physical, like almost like a 5-year-old could do it if they could sit all day. And so that's why it's super important to present these duties and work with the experts, like you said, and tear apart what they said and make it human, not so mechanical.
And there's actually been cases where the courts have found in favor of the insurance companies because a vocational review or vocational assessment wasn't done by the claimant during the appeal stage. They said, well, the insurance company did it. This is what their vocational expert says. What do you have? Well, I have what I described as my occupational duties. Well, that's not the standard that we're looking at.
All right, well, I'm going to come back to you, Caesar, and we're going to talk a little bit now about one of the last services of the denial component, which is lawsuits. And of course, there's ERISA governed lawsuits, which Steve talked about a little bit before, and we have lots of videos talking about what ERISA is. And then there's individual disability lawsuits, which are completely different animals. And we've distinguished the difference in some videos between ERISA and individual disability. But talk about, when I say why you need a lawyer for a lawsuit, well, yeah, certainly anyone could file a lawsuit on their own, but they're not going to do that. So let's talk about what you do in the lawsuit, what the expectation should be of a person, and why it's so important to have a law firm that's literally handled hundreds, if not thousands, of these long-term disability lawsuits.
Well, this is the legal battlefield, right? This is what all the buildup from your application to potentially your appeals or this, pleading to the insurance company to pay your benefits, and they just keep saying no, no, no. This is what it's built up to, is your day in court potentially. And it starts from the filing of your complaint. The complaint is a legal term. It's that document that you file to get your lawsuit initiated. If it's not pled in a very specific way, and when I say if it's not pled, basically if it's not written in a specific manner, if the allegations aren't addressed in a specific way, then it's going to be very easy for the insurance company to, request the court to dismiss your case, and you lose before even getting started. So that's why it's essential just to have a lawyer to be able to get through the door in a disability lawsuit, whether it's an individual disability lawsuit or an ERISA lawsuit. But assuming you even get through the door, now you've got the potentially years of litigation that you're going to be battling an insurance company who's going to have a corporate defense law firm who's also handled probably hundreds of disability insurance defense lawsuits. They have probably a bank of case law and of certainly their expertise that they're drawing from just to get your case dismissed before it could even be heard by a judge. All right, and apart from that, the discovery and investigative phase of a lawsuit, you have to know what you're looking for and how to and where you're going to basically gather the information from the insurance company that's going to be used against them to defeat them. So if you don't have someone that knows what they're doing in that aspect of the case, then unfortunately it's not going to be a very good outcome. It's going to be pretty bleak.
And Steve, this is a very niche area of the law, whether it's ERISA governed policies or individual disability denials. And I would say more so lately, maybe with the advent of COVID coming around, there's been a lot of imitators out there or other law firms who advertise and say, yeah, we do long-term disability, but in reality they were really just Social Security disability lawyers, which is also a very focused area that we don't handle at all because it's not what we do. We do long-term disability. But talk about the advantage of the fact that we've been doing this for, the firm was started in '79, so we got more than 35 years of doing long-term disability. What your opinion is of having the respect of the disability insurance companies and how that benefits a claimant, meaning how we've battled against them and kind of earned our reputation. I kind of want someone who's considering a firm to understand what that means when you go to select your lawyer.
Reputation is one of the biggest things. This is a smaller niche area of the law, and the same thing as Caesar was alluding to happens with the defense. It's a select group of attorneys that you see time and time again. So having done this for so long and representing clients going all the way through judgments and trials and litigating cases, not only do the insurance companies know you, the people internally there, so do the defense attorneys. I was in a mediation just yesterday, and the mediator brought that up, that it's a small group of attorneys attorneys for both sides that do this, and a lot of times your reputation will carry weight with the defense and with the insurance company through the process of litigation and mediating the cases. Because they understand who you are. You're just not trying to like turn out a bunch of cases and settle them like some large firm. You work on each case, you build the cases up, you fight for the cases, and they know that we fight the cases because we believe in our clients. And we argue and we make the best arguments that we can. So a lot of the trust that they have in the work that we do is also taken and factored into when the insurance companies are looking at it. I mean, I'm sure we've all had situations where people have hired us while they've been fighting the insurance company on their own. And the insurance, the claims adjuster, you know who they are, you've worked with them, and they're glad to have you on the case because they know you're going to be able to work through what needs to be done. That same thing kind of happens in litigation. And they also know that when they are discussing settlements throughout the process of the lawsuits, that if you're willing to go to the mat with them, they're not going to try to nickel and dime you on settlements and things like that as well.
Well, I think that's a great point, because what you're saying is that the value, we're going to try to get the highest value possible for a case, and we're not going to settle it short. Unfortunately, I'm hearing about other law firms out there that are settling cases at 10 cents on the dollar, which is really sad, because their goal is to just accumulate a lot of these cases, just try to get quick money and be done. Our goal is to, yes, get a quick resolution as quick as possible, and I find that we can push it as fast as humanly possible, because the other side knows already we don't have to string it out for 10 or 12 months and try to bleed them, because they know exactly what they're going to what to do. No matter where we go in the country, they're going to fight us, because we've been in basically every federal court across the country. But also, they know that we're going to get top dollar, that we're a financially healthy and successful firm. There's no reason for us to say push a client to settle. If the client wants to settle, great. If they don't want to settle, that's up to them. We're going to give them an opinion based upon what we think the chances of success are. Some cases are good, some are just not good, and you're lucky to get money. Some of the cases that are really good, they're just not offering anywhere near the amount of money, and they're trying to strong arm the clients into a settlement, which is low. And unfortunately, many law firms are just thinking about, I want the dollars now, and they're not willing to wait the additional time and put in all of that manpower and fight. But we do that, we have that, and I think that's important. You've already waited this long. If you're in litigation, you've clearly waited at least 9 months. I mean, at a minimum, you've gotten to this point. And I know it's hard to hold on, but we always encourage people, do the best you can so that we can maximize the value for the claim. So that's one of the things with litigation. What we didn't mention is that if someone's sitting out there with a denial and they call us, the important thing is we need a copy of the denial letter as the starting point. We'll immediately get on the phone with them. They'll speak to a lawyer, not a paralegal. We'll review the claim and be able to basically let them know right away whether or not we think it's a case that we can help them with. The last topic of the 5 different services that we offer is the lump sum buyout. And lump sum buyouts, not every disability company handles those. We've handled literally thousands of them, because not only on people who call us and say, hey, I'm interested in a buyout, but also in appeal cases we've won, or litigation cases we won, or people we got on claim, or people that are on claim and we're managing. Sometimes they're interested in a buyout. So there's all different types of situations to get a buyout. And what we try to do, again, talking about maximizing value, is that we know all the factors that go into what it takes to get the highest buyout. At the end of the day, the disability insurance company has their valuations. We have ours, with working with our actuarial experts to determine the valuation and things like mortality, the interest rates, the lifetime, what your medical condition is, the policy language, whether you have Social Security disability or not, with offsets and things like that. So there's times where we've been able to get significant value for a claimant, and not only get higher significant value for a claimant, but also just even get an offer for them, because many times claimants, there's not like a place to call up and say, hey, I want a buyout. It doesn't work like that. So we negotiated thousands of them, and our goal is to obviously get the highest dollar amount. So, I want to thank you for, again, watching this video and getting to learn us. We certainly encourage you to give any of our lawyers a call. No matter where you live in the country, we're available. Also, you should know that we have a very active YouTube channel, which we encourage you to subscribe to, where we're putting out 4 to 5 new videos every week on topics that we think are important, providing disability tips for claimants, no matter what type of claim you have. And really, the goal is to put you in the best position possible to either get your benefits paid, get them reinstated, or keep them being paid. The other thing we do is we have a voice on the disability insurance companies, where we encourage people to put reviews on our website about the disability insurance company. So in a way, what we're trying to do is we're building a community where all the disability claimants can come and have a voice against the disability insurance companies, not only to let everyone out there know this is what companies are doing, but I think the bigger value is to let people learn about things that happen so they can avoid that happening to them. And I think that's why people put reviews, not just to say Unum sucks or Hartford sucks or whatever. Yeah, everyone kind of knows they suck, but this is what they did to me. Don't let them do it to you. And if we do that, there's going to be more and more people getting approved and more people not being victims of wrongful termination. So should you need any of us, we look forward to the opportunity to speaking with you in the future. Hi, I'm Gregory Dell, the Managing Attorney of Dell Disability Lawyers, and I hope you find the video you just watched helpful. We put these videos out all of the time, and we'd love if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Beyond our videos on our YouTube channel, we also have lots of information available on our website at diattorney.com, and we encourage you to come to our website. The goal is that we want you to be educated about the disability insurance process, and when you get to our website, you'll see that we have information all about your specific disability insurance company, your occupation, and your medical condition. And we've designed our website such that you can easily search our website to find things that you may specifically be looking for. Now at our website, we have thousands and thousands of pages of information, hundreds of videos that you can search, plus we're building a section of reviews of all the disability insurance companies, and we have the Ask Our Lawyer section where you can go ahead and ask us any questions that you may have. Now we realize that you may not need us right now, but you may need us in the future to help you with your disability claim, and we think one of the best ways to keep in touch is by clicking the button below and subscribing to our channel. And most importantly, again, no matter where you live in the country, we're always available. Just go ahead and give us a call. We're happy to discuss your claim and let you know immediately if we can help you.